What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto takes Orochimaru's sword? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. For as long as Naruto Uzumaki could remember, his life had been a complete nightmare. He had been hated and vilified by the villagers in the place where he lived, and that was the village hidden in the leaves. Naruto had always wondered why it was that he could not ever find any acknowledgement in his hometown, which was also the reason for him playing the various pranks that he played. The villagers always called him a demon. He always assumed that this was because of the numerous pranks he had played in the past. He had played pranks on the Uchiha clan, and the Hyuga clan and numerous other clans in Konoha had been struck by the maelstrom that he was. Naruto was proud of his pranking. He was certainly able to outrun many of the villagers and the ninjas, and the situation was so bad that they had to send experienced Anbu to catch him, and yet he would manage escaping most of the time. However, this was not one of the times, but this was also not one of the times which Naruto had played a prank. This was just another day for Naruto. However, the reason why he was in the predicament he was in was lost to him. He could not for the life of him explain why there was a mob of at least 20 Konoha civilians who were now surrounding him, with murderous looks in their eyes, the same way they had looked at him for as long as Naruto could remember. This was certainly not good news for him. He would sure be sore in the morning tomorrow. That was another thing that Naruto could never explain. No matter what happened, he never got sick, or why any wound that was ever inflicted on him by the villagers would ever stay. They would heal almost instantly, but today it looked like the wounds were going to stay for a long time. Naruto gulped. This was not good. He almost considered apologizing to the civilians, but he could not speak, he couldn't even move, and the expression on his face was one of sheer terror. It looked like Naruto would die young, at the age of 6. Look at the demon, one of the civilians, Naruto couldn't tell who, sneered. There were nods of agreement in the group upon hearing this. Some of them were smiling. Yeah, he thinks with that expression on his face he can actually manage to fool us and extract some sympathy from us. But the demon is wrong. The civilian sneered. While Naruto took a step back, however, the narrow alleyway in which they had cornered him was not too receptive to this. He realized that he had just stepped into a wall. There was nowhere he could go now. This demon deserves to die, said another person, and yet to Naruto it seemed as though everyone was saying it. The voices were echoing and Naruto felt something inexplicable setting in. His heart tensed and his muscles seized up. He couldn't even breathe anymore. It was almost as if time had stopped. Naruto began feeling something burning in his eyes, while one or two civilians seemed to notice the change in him. They stepped back but shrugged it off as they began closing in again. Naruto shut his eyes as they seemed to burn even more now. Naruto's mindscape. At first all Naruto could smell was the sewers and nothing more. It almost smelled like the dank underground of Konoha did. Actually, it smelled exactly like that. Where am I? He wondered aloud, as he began fumbling in the darkness looking for a source of light that would tell him where he was better than he could right now, and yet he couldn't find any. Come closer, a voice seemed to call him, and Naruto had no other choice but to follow it. It was like he could not refuse the voice. It was filled with intent and sounded really menacing, almost as though not following it would kill him. He moved in the direction of the seal before coming across a giant cage with 9 bars and a center which was circular with the kanji for seal engraved on it. What the? He said to no one in particular. The eyes, the voice said, clearly coming from beyond that cage. Those eyes, I don't recall you having those eyes, the voice said, the menacing tone gone, replaced completely with a curious one. It was as though the voice was interested in him, and Naruto did not like it one bit. And then it was as though the voice had all his doubts answered. Of course, Kushina was an Uzumaki, that explains it, it seemed to say, and this caused Naruto to look at him with interest now. It was as though someone had hit him with the stomach. Kushina was an Uzumaki? That meant there had to be another family member existing somewhere. Who are you? He asked, looking in the direction of the voice, and it had taken more courage than one could think was possible for a 6-year-old boy to possess. The voice behind the bars seemed to laugh as suddenly the whole cage began illuminating. Slowly light began creeping in and Naruto could see that the thing had tails, actually 9 of them, and he looked like a fox. Kei Kyubi, he said stammering, as the voice began laughing in earnest. It was really dreadful. The whole place seemed to reek of evil forces while Naruto began thinking he might just pee himself. As brave as your father, eh? Naruto Uzumaki, you also seem as feisty as your mother. The voice said, laughing. The laugh was less evil and seemed more jovial and genuine. Those eyes? What eyes are you talking about? Naruto asked the Kyuubi no Yoko, straightening and summoning some more of that courage, all the while cursing himself for being so foolish. However, the voice did not seem offended. The color of your eyes seems off though, it mused. While Naruto Uzumaki was trying to feel his eyes, as far as he could tell, the only thing that he found different was he seemed to see more clearly. You know my parents? He asked the fox when he sensed that it had finished laughing. Naruto felt more comfortable by the second as the killing intent had all but disappeared. The fox nodded. Yes, I do know of your parents, boy. Why? It was your father who put me in this god-forsaken place behind bars. The voice said as Naruto suddenly realized something. It had been the Yondaime Hokage that had defeated the fox that had attacked Konoha all those years ago. So maybe the fox was saying the Yondaime Hokage was his father? Yes, the fox said, reading Naruto's mind apparently. Although the bastard Yondaime did not kill me like some of you insolent whelps seem to believe, he merely sealed me into the body of his own son. The fox said, coming closer to Naruto. So much so that they were face to face, or at least face to Naruto's entire body. You, he finished, causing Naruto to gulp. Why you mean that the Yondaime is my father, and I have a demon inside me? Is that why the villagers? He trailed off, tearing up with every word he spoke before he began crying. The crying seemed to set off a chain reaction in the whole place, as bits of the roof seemed to be falling off the roof of the cage the fox was trapped in. My father did not love me, he said, while crying at the same time. He began moving towards the seal. The villagers hate me, he said, with a bit more venom in his voice. I'll show them, he said as he ran towards the circular compartment where seal was engraved. Now kid, wait 1 second. The fox called out to him, but Naruto was blinded by rage, and pulled off the seal. Naruto, the voice called out to him, much calmer than the one before, not even a quarter as rough as the fox's voice. Naruto, come here, the voice called out to him again. The whole place was covered in bright light, and Naruto was awestruck at what he was seeing. Standing in front of him was a tall blonde man. The resemblance was uncanny and eerie. It almost looked like it was a grown-up version of himself. The man was wearing a long cloak which had Yondaime Hokage written on it. Naruto realized who it was. You, he said, causing the Hokage to smile. It was just like Naruto's smiles, but Naruto did not know that. Yes, it's your father. Before he could finish the sentence, however, he was punched in the stomach by Naruto, which knocked the wind out of him and brought him to his knees. The man got up and smiled. I deserved that, he said, causing Naruto to get a funny look on his face, one of extreme puzzlement. It also seemed to calm him down. Why? Naruto asked him. The man smiled. It was unfair, wasn't it? Why I had to seal the damn fox in you? But Naruto, there was no way to beat him. The only way I could have done it was by sealing it in someone. However, I couldn't just go and ask for a baby. It had to be someone I trusted. And there was only one person I trusted enough to keep the fox in the seal. And that was you, he said, pointing a finger at him. Trusted? Why would you trust someone to seal a demon in them? Naruto asked his father, who just smiled. Of course, my son is too young to understand all this. That is why the seal was almost taken off. However, I will explain it to you, he said. Naruto nodded. You see, he continued, there are 9-tailed beasts in this world, and the Kyuubi is one of them. These beasts are sealed in a person, and this person is called a Jinchuriki, he said. The power of human sacrifice, he said, explaining the meaning of the term to Naruto. Jinchurikis are the power of human sacrifice, Naruto, because not only do they take on a lot of danger by sealing a beast within them, they also have to bear with the treatment you received at the hands of the villagers, and I couldn't understand that, he said sadly, shaking his head as he did so. What does that mean? Naruto said, sitting down and crossing his legs, listening to his father like a child listens to a fairy tale. I expected the villagers to treat you like a hero, for you made an ultimate sacrifice by holding the Kyuubi within yourself, but they saw you for what you held inside you, not what you actually are. It is disappointing, I know, but that is ignorance, isn't it? He asked Naruto, who nodded. The villagers really did not know any better. Naruto, the trust I have in you was the fact that you could control what is inside you, so that one day you may use the power as a shinobi of Konoha, he said, smiling. Naruto nodded. Wasn't that his dream? It had always been that way. Naruto, I love you, and so did your mother. We are proud of you and we will always watch you from above, trust me on this. I will fix the seal this time, but this is the last time I do this, he said, causing Naruto to nod. Now, I have some time left, I think I should figure out those eyes of yours, he said, and Naruto wondered what was wrong. This was the second person, although calling the Kyuubi a person would be stretching it, had told him his eyes were different. Suddenly a mirror materialized in front of him. He walked up to the mirror and looked at his reflection. His eyes were different. There was a ripple-like pattern around the pupil and the iris and sclera were red color. That is the Rinnegan, Naruto, and strangely enough I think I know what caused you to have the Rinnegan, his father said as Naruto stared transfixed at the mirror. Naruto, he said slowly. Naruto turned around. Do you know the basics of channeling chakra? He asked him. Naruto nodded. He smiled. Good, his father said as he began rubbing his hair. Why don't you relax and withdraw all chakra? He asked Naruto, who nodded and turned to the mirror while calming down and withdrawing the chakra from his body. His eyes returned to their normal piercing blue color. His father smiled. What do you know, you have my eyes too, he said, causing Naruto to smile. Dad, why do I have this Rinnegan thing? He asked his father, who looked pensive upon being asked that question. I think we need the fox to explain that question to us, he said, as the bright light immediately receded and they were back in the familiar dark and smelly sewer again. Yondaime! A voice screamed, killer intent flaring causing Naruto to feel unsettled again, however his father held his hand, stabilizing him immediately. Come here, you insolent human, how dare you? Shut up, his father screamed, and that earned Naruto's respect. He was petrified of the damn thing, but his father was having a shouting match, and the Kyuubi was actually listening. I know you were not in control of yourself, but I had to do what I had to do, so stop shouting at me and listen and explain why he has these eyes. The fox smiled. The Sage of Six Paths possessed that dojutsu and only a person with Uchiha and Senju chakra can unlock the Rinnegan, it said. That is correct. But where is the Uchiha chakra from? He asked the fox. You know, the person who took control of me, after you freed me from it, I was left with some traces of that infernal chakra of the Uchihas. It was not enough to control me again, but it was there. Today it melded with the Kitsu Uzumaki chakra, which is a clan that is related to the Senjus and my first ever host itself, it said. No wonder he unlocked the Rinnegan, and I can even explain why the Rinnegan is slightly different for him. That is because of my own chakra, it finished. You mean to say some of that Uchiha chakra was mixed with your own and leaked into Naruto's chakra stream, mixing with his normal chakra and thus giving him a Rinnegan that is different and is something he can deactivate? The fox nodded its giant head. That does not make any sense whatsoever, Naruto pipped in, causing not only the Yondaime, but also the Kyuubi itself to laugh. Your son, Minato, he has spunk, I have to give you that, the fox said laughing at the same time. Minato nodded. Naruto, focus some chakra to your eyes will you? Once more, let's see if you can do it again. Naruto nodded, forcing some chakra to his eyes, however the pain did not come this time, there was no burning sensation in his eyes. Minato looked at Naruto with a triumphant expression in his eyes. You can actually activate and deactivate this thing, that is certainly very useful, he said, causing Naruto to feel puzzled. Why would that matter, Dad? He asked Minato, who smiled. You will have some people after you for this dojutsu, Naruto, so it's a good thing that you can hide it at will, he said, causing Naruto to look at him wide-eyed. Is it really that powerful, Dad? He asked his father, who nodded. No one knows what the Rinnegan can do, Naruto. It generally is said to bring goodness or chaotic evil. You are going to be an exceptional shinobi someday. Naruto smiled. It was good to hear that from the man he was idolizing who turned out to be his own father. Naruto, I am fading now, Minato said smiling. Not a lot of time has passed outside, barely a second, so just react on your instincts, okay? I think you will be alright. I know I couldn't stay too long, and I know that you would love to know a lot of things, but that is your mother's story to tell, he said, causing Naruto to look at him again. Yes, Naruto, did you expect only your father to be able to talk to you? Your mother is a lot more feisty than you, and she made sure that she would see you when the time came. But that is some ways away, son, he said. Naruto was tearing up again. while even Minato seemed to have teary eyes. "I love you and I hope you can forgive me for this," he said, causing Naruto to nod. Deep down even Naruto knew he couldn't stay mad for long at his father for what had happened, and he understood the reasons for the fox being sealed into him. Minato began flickering. "Ask the Sandame to give you Minato's scrolls. He will understand clearly," he said. "No matter what happens, do not blame the villagers, Naruto. Rise above that hate and focus on making friends and earning respect. Remember, the people who have responsibility thrust upon them are the ones who are strong, just like you. Make sure that the village is your responsibility, okay?" Naruto nodded. "Minato," the fox said, interrupting the conversation that father and son were having as Minato began flickering. "He has the eyes of our father, and he is of strong heart, so the day he is capable of taking my chakra, I will offer to meld with him," he said. "The great Kyuubi no Kitsune will make sure that he stays alive," he said, causing Minato to smile. "You know, you aren't that bad," Minato said. The flicker was getting stronger now. The fox laughed. "It's time, leave Minato. I consider you worthy enough of knowing my name." "It is Kurama," he said. However, Minato had disappeared. Naruto was about to turn off the Rinnegan when the fox spoke to him. "Naruto, not much time has passed outside. Those eyes should give you some form of control over gravity, so just focus your chakra on pushing when the mob comes close. You should be able to fend them off," it said. Naruto nodded. "One more thing, when you need to talk to me, just meditate. This is your mindscape, you can meet anytime. You don't have to come here to talk to me though, we can do that telepathically also," it continued. "Telepathic?" Naruto scratched his head. "What is that?" Kurama shook his head. "You are a stupid kid, now go," it said, pushing Naruto outside the mindscape. It was almost as though only a breath had been taken in the world outside. The civilians were still closing in, however some seemed to have noticed the color of his eyes had gone from blue to red. They stepped back, however Naruto was just doing what was coming to his mind, however he felt instincts take over as he gave a push of his chakra. "Shinra Tensei," he whispered. The effects were immediate, a huge pulse of energy was sent out from Naruto's hands, and the whole mob of people was pushed right back. Naruto cringed as he saw a person hit his head against the wall. The narrow alleyway had become wide as the walls surrounding them had been destroyed. Some of the civilians were cringing at what had happened. There were moans of pain heard from some sides as Naruto realized that while he might not be as tired as he looked, there was a lot of things that had happened and everything had changed. He sighed as he fainted, deactivating his dojutsu as he did so. Naruto spent the next day in a hospital recovering from what the Hokage had declared was some severe trauma that was caused due to an attempt on his life by the villagers, and many of whom had not managed to get away before the Anbu had shown up were arrested, and at least a couple who had swords in their possessions were in jail, awaiting their fates. The Hokage had decided that 2 people would be executed as they had violated the direct orders of the Hokage himself by attacking Naruto Uzumaki. Once Naruto had recovered, he was let out. However, the Hokage had silently put an Anbu on his trail as he was worried that this was not the last of all the horrible incidents that seemed to happen when Naruto was around. However, once the villagers seemed to have been scared away from Naruto, he took the tail off and just had them guard his apartment at night. The old man had been so busy that Naruto did not even get a chance to ask for the scrolls like his father had instructed him to. He decided to do that at another day, while he would now work on trying to figure out how to use his eyes to their full effect. This was proving to be more difficult than Naruto had expected it to be. For one thing, the fox did not seem to know much about the eyes. The things he did know, he wouldn't tell Naruto, as the Kyuubi was of the opinion that attempting those kinds of things would for all intents and purposes finish off Naruto for good, so for the moment Naruto was just working on his gravity manipulation. He had discovered that not only did he have the ability to push things away, called the Shinra Tensei, he also had the ability to attract things to himself. This was the Bansho Tenin. Naruto had not quite perfected the abilities yet, however he was getting better at it. Presently he was training with his gravity manipulation. The fox had him go away from the village as he did not want anyone to know about the powers his container had. Naruto had decided that this was a good plan of action as this would keep people in the dark. He was also sure that the attempts on taking his life would escalate if he was found to be so powerful, and those eyes of his would be hunted down. Even the old man was not told of those eyes. Naruto couldn't ever use those eyes in the village because the fox had detected something that had been watching them and had deemed it not safe enough to be trusted, so that had put a rest to Naruto's aim of showing off his talents to anyone in the academy. The academy was another cause of concern. August had approached and they were in the second year of studies. There would be only 4 more years before Naruto would be able to participate in missions and would finally take a shot at accomplishing his dream of becoming Hokage. However, the teachers, he realized, were the real problem. Not only had they discriminated in their opinions of him, he wasn't really thought by anyone. All of them just ignored him when he tried some sort of a prank. Or they just let him do his own thing. No one cared if he showed up or not. No one cared if he slept in class. They just gave him a cold shoulder, while the laziest boy in class, Shikamaru, was scolded all the time for sleeping. This only made Naruto really sad, as this was not what his father had wanted for him. His father had hoped that he would be treated as a hero for keeping a demon fox within him, and yet that never happened. Instead, he was just ignored and not acknowledged or helped. Oh man, he thought. If they knew who my father was, I bet they wouldn't treat me like the way they do now. Naruto, a voice called out to him, come into my seal. Just close your eyes now, the teachers will not mind anyway. Naruto nodded before entering the seal. What is it, Kurama? He asked the fox. The fox snorted. He had told Naruto that he preferred being called the Great Kyuubi no Kitsune. However, it hadn't worked on the blonde. The kid just insisted on calling him Kurama. This angered him a lot. However, this was important and he had decided that for now, he wouldn't pay any attention to this minor mistake. I hope you are not thinking of doing something as stupid as telling all these stupid people about your father and mother, it said. Naruto smiled upon hearing that. Why the hell would I do that now? I am not dumb, Kurama, which is surprising because just a few days ago I would not be able to say that about myself, he said, shrugging. What do you mean, Kit? The fox asked him, out of curiosity. I used to view myself as a loser, and I did everything I ever did just to get some attention. I became a class clown because I thought I could get Sakura's attention, but deep down even I knew that the villagers hated me because I was a useless piece of trash. But ever since I learned about my father and the legacy I have to uphold, everything has changed. I feel more alive, I feel different, he finished. Well, I don't know why you would view yourself as a total loser, because a Jinchuriki is a really strong person, but you did not know that, so I can understand, the fox said, his tone resembling one of a man with years of wisdom. In that respect, you are like your mother, Kit. She was pure-hearted too. I must say, being sealed in bodies of such pure hearts may have made me go a bit soft, but that does not matter. This was another thing that had bothered Naruto. His mother, according to Kyuubi, had been a Jinchuriki herself. However, every day Naruto asked Kurama what had happened and how he had broken free. The fox just shrugged as he could not remember a single thing. Naruto sighed, as he would have loved to know what had happened. All Naruto knew was that someone had taken control of the fox. However, the fox would only refer to that person as that man, and never ever gave Naruto his name. Kit, come back to solid ground. I wanted to talk to you about something, the fox said. Naruto sat down, eager to listen to what it was the fox wanted to say to him. The Rinnegan you have is slightly mutated thanks to my chakra. For example, you are capable of turning it on or off at will, which is a big gift. The eyes itself do not drain your chakra in a noticeable way, so I guess you are okay there. You are also able to harness all the 5 basic elements. Naruto smiled. He had remembered that day. The fox had him steal some chakra-conductive paper from the hands of one of the Chunin. The paper had then split into 5. One part was wrinkled, the other was wet, another had turned to dust, another had burned, and the last one was slashed to bits when Naruto had channeled chakra through those papers. This indicated that he had all the 5 natures. He was also capable of using these elements without the Rinnegan activated. The fox had explained this by suggesting that the eyes had changed his genetic makeup, which was the point he was going to get to now. Now, you must remember how I had you train in your water element, as I remember your mother training with it, he said. Naruto nodded. The aim with water training was simple, be able to manipulate water bodies just by using his water chakra. He was asked to go to a pond and try and work on it. However, he had not had much success. He had barely been able to summon the water chakra to do it. Instead of being able to extract torrents of water as he had hoped, he only managed to get some drops out. Kurama had told him that this would take some time as nature manipulation is hard. Kurama himself had never ever needed to use nature manipulation, as he had only one move, the tailed beast bomb, which did not need any nature manipulation. So Kurama did not have any idea as to how to do it. He only remembered Kushina using the training. Well Kit, I think the genetic chakra you have is changing, thanks to using the water chakra you have, the fox said. What does that mean? Naruto asked him. Well Kit, the first ever Hokage of Konohagakure, Hashirama Senju, was capable of using wood release, which was the combination of water and earth natures. This was because when he was born, his genetic chakras had mixed up, thus giving another kind of chakra, the wood chakra. Now thanks to my own chakra mutating the Rinnegan, the genetics of yours have changed drastically, but I think that thanks to you harnessing the water chakra you have, it has begun mixing with all the other elements in your body. The process is slow and will take a long time to actually complete, about 5 to 6 years, however the more you use the chakras, the more you should be able to mix them with each other, and thus you are more likely to be able to use those special elements, the fox said. Naruto stared at the fox open-mouthed. You mean to say that I will be able to use wood release if I train in water chakra? The fox nodded. Basically it's like ramen, now ramen has noodles and broth. Noodles and broth both taste good separately, but they get better when they combine, don't they? Now similarly, by using the water chakra you have, you're forcing the chakras to combine, and thanks to your redefined genetic makeup, this is not going to affect you in the way it should have. Generally combining nature chakras blows up in one's face. I have heard that some have died trying to force it, but my chakra seems to have made you immune to it. Now if only. The fox paused when he realized that Naruto was not concentrating anymore. As a matter of fact, Naruto was drooling. Hey, what the hell Kit, can you stop with the daydreams about ramen and focus on what I am trying to tell you? It shouted, causing Naruto to snap out of it. Sorry, what were you saying? Naruto asked Kyuubi, grinning sheepishly as the fox sighed. Look, consider a soup bowl. By using your water chakra, consider yourself putting some of it into the bowl. Now as you practice more with water, you put more into the bowl. Then you put some earth chakra into the bowl, thus creating wood chakra. In this way, by practicing with all the elements, you should be able to mix up and be able to access all the sub-elemental chakras, the fox said. Naruto's eyes widened. So I should be able to use wood release? He asked the fox. The fox nodded. Not just that, but also as far as I know, you can use wood, ice, boil, and storm releases as well. Congratulations, you have far too much power that you will be able to harness than you should, the fox said, sighing. Naruto began jumping up and down with excitement. Yata, he shouted. I am awesome. Now I can become Hokage and protect these people, he said, dancing around. The surroundings in his mindscape were suddenly filled with ramen-like scents. This was something the Kyuubi couldn't explain. Your son is just like Kushina and looks like Minato. I can't help but think that he is going to be like father. I wonder where the others Bijus are. I wonder if they will be able to sense what I have been able to about him, he thought to himself. Kit, stop dancing now, just get out and leave me. After doing that much thinking, I like sleeping, the fox said, sighing. Naruto nodded and left the mindscape. Naruto returned to the mortal plane from his mindscape and opened his eyes. Looking around, he realized that something was not right. Everyone in the class was looking at him. Naruto gulped as he turned, only to be met by the gaze of their new Chunin instructor for the next few years. His name was Iruka Amino. Naruto sighed. This instructor was not looking too happy about Naruto napping, but he knew that just like every other instructor he ever had, this one would just ignore him too. However, that did not happen. Naruto Uzumaki, Iruka shouted, if I catch you asleep in my class again, I will hit you harder, Iruka said, threateningly. Harder than what? Naruto asked, genuinely curious. Harder than this, Iruka said, before bonking Naruto on the head and leaving him with a lump. The class laughed while even Iruka seemed to have cracked up a little at the scene that had ensued. This guy is different, Naruto thought. He actually did something, he acknowledged me. Wonder why he did that. I mean, he had taught us before, so why was he so concerned about me sleeping now? I wonder what is up, he mused, scratching his head. Now focus in class, Naruto, this is very important, he said. Naruto sighed and decided to act like the class clown again, as this was going to be his mask for the next few years. This is all useless, Iruka-sensei. Come on and teach us some jutsus so that I can defeat the Hokage, Naruto said, pumping his fists up and down. Iruka sighed. Naruto, you are too young to actually learn jutsu. but by listening to the theory of it all you will be able to learn it better, so just do as I say and it will be alright, okay? Iruka asked Naruto, who nodded. As if a baka like you can learn anything, a certain pink-haired girl who Naruto thought he had liked screeched. Naruto sighed, he had to be in fake love with her for the next few years. What a drag, he thought, doing his best Shikamaru lazy face at Sakura instead of pouting while the class laughed. Not only was he forced to bear some humiliation, he was also going to have to concentrate in class, and he did not like this one bit. He decided that it was time to zone out and began daydreaming about all the asses he would kick when he had mastered the wood style. Naruto had managed sneaking out of Mizuki-sensei's class later on in the day. After Iruka's class was over, Naruto had been so bored that he had to sneak out. He had been thinking about going to the ramen store when he saw a grown man who had really bushy eyebrows and was wearing a green-colored bodysuit. This man looked extremely creepy, but even then, Naruto had to admit that he looked strong. There was another boy who had bushy brows and was wearing a blue-colored shirt and pants. Naruto found this eerie resemblance between the two people really creepy, and so he had to do it. "Who are you?" the little boy had asked the man, who smiled and began posing enthusiastically. "I am Konoha's sublime green beast of prey, Might Guy," he said, before sticking out his thumb and posing with a smile that made his teeth sparkle. The whole thing creeped Naruto out, however it did not really have the same effect on the small boy, who was smiling. "I am Rock Lee, no nickname, but I really like the word Mounties," he said, posing in the same way the guy had posed a minute ago. Naruto's sweat dropped at this. This was crazy, the whole thing, and yet he couldn't take his eyes off this. The big man, named Might Guy, seemed to be impressed though. "Ah, you burn with the flames of youth. Maybe when you become genin, I shall train you," he said. The kid named Lee smiled. "Yes, but I cannot channel chakra," the kid said. "I have a birth defect which made it impossible for me to channel any chakra whatsoever. I cannot become a ninja," Lee said sadly. Even Naruto felt sad at this. This kid was weird but he did not deserve it. "Nonsense, I am Junin and even I know only one technique that can help me that requires ninjutsu," the man named Guy said, before making hand seals. Naruto perked up, no one to teach him any jutsu whatsoever, so he would have to see this. He memorized the seals that the Junin had made. He also realized that the Junin had made a contribution of blood before using the technique. Kachiyose no jutsu. He looked on to see what would happen, and suddenly from out of nowhere a turtle appeared. "Whoa," Naruto said out loud. This caused Lee and Guy to look in Naruto's general direction. The turtle vanished as Guy and Lee both turned towards the direction from which the voice had come. "Come out, spy, that is most unyouthful of you to hide like that," Might Guy said, causing Naruto to shudder. However, he realized that his jig was up. He reluctantly came out, with a grin on his face. "I am sorry, but I was so impressed by your introduction that I had to stay," Naruto lied, trying to calm down the Junin who had a stoic face. Upon hearing this, Guy cracked up. "Ah, another youthful student who uses his energy to play pranks on the entire village. I did not know you were a fan of flashy entrances, Naruto Uzumaki," Might Guy said enthusiastically. "I shall show you the nice guy pose, for I am extremely happy with what has happened here today," he said. Naruto tried to stop him, however Might Guy posed in the same way he had posed in front of Lee. Might Guy then turned to Lee, failing to notice the look on Naruto's face, one of complete horror, and said, "I shall train you so that you become a ninja that uses only taijutsu, my own style, called Goken, or the strong fist, when I find the time, so that by your impressive skills, you allow your youth to shine," the man said to Lee, who lit up immediately. "Hey, Guy-san," Naruto called out to Might Guy, "can you teach me too?" he asked. Guy smiled at Naruto's question. "Two youthful students?" he said. "It is good to know that Konoha is going to have shinobi that are going to show the flames of youth to the whole wide world. However, I have already taken Lee as my apprentice," he said, changing his tone from a happy one to a somber one. Naruto nodded. He understood. Lee had just somehow beaten him to a taijutsu trainer. Despite being weird, the Might Guy seemed like a nice person. He knew who Naruto was, however did not seem to have any prejudice against him. Might Guy saw the look on Naruto's face and began crying. "Oh, how can I deny a person wanting to show off his youth?" Might Guy screamed. Lee nodded. "Hi, Guy-sensei. You simply have to train Naruto-kun here so that his flames of youth can shine bright, Rock Lee said. Naruto gulped. It was like they had found each other's soulmates here. Well, not Goken, but I presume I can give you another style that you might learn from a scroll and then you can spar with me and Lee in practice. He asked Naruto, who nodded enthusiastically. Ah, yes, this is a very admirable solution indeed. As a matter of fact, I have just the style for you. You seem to be the kind of person who will be athletic, so you need something that allows you to flow in battle. This is the flowing palm style, Guy said, in a way that sounded really regal. The flowing palm? Naruto asked him. Yes, this is a very youthful style, much like my own Goken. This is a very beneficial to the user. I had trained in this before I created my own style. The aim is to attack and defend at the same time. Here you go. He said, handing Naruto the scroll. Now my youthful students, go and practice. Let the flames of your youth shine. Lee, I shall train you tomorrow at Training Ground 11. Be there at 5 in the morning, Naruto-kun. You can come as well, he said, before sunshining away. Rock Lee introduced himself to Naruto the same way Guy had, and Naruto realized that Guy had already corrupted Lee. As soon as Lee had left, Naruto had traveled back to his apartment, where he opened the scroll with flowing palm written on it. Flowing palm, he began reading out aloud. The purpose of this fighting style, like most of the boundless fist, is to attack while being able to defend at the same time. By engaging an attack enemy, striking though their center, yielding, following though, relaxing, nullify enemy's force, use enemy's force against them, and adding their own force. The user is able to quickly attack the enemy and defend at the same time, he finished. This style could indeed prove useful. He spent the night practicing the style of taijutsu. Naruto spent the next few weeks training with Lee and Guy. Lee seemed to be a taijutsu genius with really amazing determination. Naruto had become competent in the flowing palm technique, including having learned a taijutsu known as focus point, which was basically like the juken that the Hyuga used, except it was really precise and 2 hits could shut down an organ completely. However, Naruto realized that he was not a taijutsu kind of guy. However, he had a really strange experience when he attempted a ninjutsu. He had still not asked the old man for the scrolls, and his own engrossment with the flowing palm had made him forget the Kachiyose no Jutsu that Guy had used in front of him. However, today he was going to learn it. No one had told him that a contract was needed to summon the animals, and he had asked that the jutsu summoned turtles, or maybe it summoned whatever the user was thinking of. He decided he wanted to summon a giant bird and activated his Rinnegan, pure instinct telling him to do so. He bit his thumb and made the seals, imagining a giant eagle as he cried out, Kachiyose no Jutsu. The result was instantaneous. An eagle materialized out of nowhere. It also had drained a significant amount of Naruto's chakra. Naruto still had plenty, but he looked at the eagle in a strange fashion. How do I tell you what to do? He asked the eagle. Kit, came Kyuubi's voice from within the mindscape. Just think about what you want to do, and never attempt anything that dangerous without waking me up first. A summoning jutsu requires a contract of some sort, but you do not need it. This must be due to those eyes of yours, he said. Naruto nodded. Flap your wings, he thought, looking at the eagle. The eagle immediately flapped its wings. This is so cool, he said, enthusiastically as he climbed aboard the eagle. Now fly high enough so that no one can make out that it's me, then take me around the village, he said. Sure enough, Naruto spent that day flying around the village instead of training, and he did it till he realized that he did not have enough chakra left. The eagle vanished as soon as he hit ground and Naruto slumped over, unconscious. Naruto realized that the advantages of the Rinnegan was that he could summon any animal he wanted and could control it with his thoughts, which he began training himself in. He also began working on his reserves, which were already cage level, but he wanted to be able to use the summoning jutsu to his full advantage, and he did. Soon he could summon numerous creatures without any significant loss in his chakra, which he considered was amazing for him to do. He realized that this could unlock a whole new world for him. He could use the animals to sneak around and grab some jutsu scrolls that he could then use to teach himself some useful jutsus. The fox was obviously not going to help with learning all the elemental jutsus, so maybe could grab some scrolls for himself to learn from. The possibilities were endless. Naruto cursed himself for everything that had happened. Here he was with these eyes that the Kyuubi had said were all-seeing and powerful and were possessed by the Sage of Six Paths who was the god of all jutsu himself, and yet thanks to who he was, he couldn't exactly brag about it, and he couldn't ask anyone for help, because no one would give it to him even if he did. Might Guy was just one of the people in the village. Not everyone would be as intelligent as Guy to realize that what was inside him was not him, and yet, the fox was not necessarily a bad thing to have. After all these days of loneliness, the fox, no matter how cynical he still was the only company Naruto had. Naruto could call him one of the few friends. Actually, apart from Lee, it seemed like Kurama was his only friend. For some reason Naruto found that really depressing, and could anyone really blame him for feeling that way? Naruto was depressed enough and he was fed up with putting off asking the old man for what was rightfully his, so he decided that enough was enough and that he would go and ask the old man for his scrolls. The clerk in the Hokage's office was not exactly the person who Naruto would want to see on a day that he was just not in a good mood. He knew that the old man was going to be free and reading those disgusting books of his at the moment. However, the clerk, who doubled up as his secretary, was a total idiot, just like all the villagers. She also thought that Naruto was the nine-tailed fox, and Naruto had little tolerance for people like that. As he walked up to the office, the clerk sneered upon seeing him. "I love that disgusting impression on your face," Naruto said. It was as if someone had forced him to say it, but he was glad that he did. "It makes you look constipated, so the next time someone makes that face, I know what is wrong," he said, laughing. The clerk was apparently in a bad mood too. "What do you want, demon brat?" she snarled. "A meeting with the old man," he said simply. "No way, demon brat, and treat him with some respect. He is Hokage-sama to you," she said. "Don't teach me manners, especially not ignorant fools like you. I want to talk to the Hokage, so you will let me meet him, or else." The clerk laughed. "Or else what?" she asked him. "I'll tell the Hokage that you told me that I am the Kyuubi, and you know what that means, don't you?" he said, smiling. Naruto felt bad for playing this card, however he was extremely happy to see the expression on the clerk's face. "You wouldn't dare." "I would," Naruto said, grinning evilly now. This woman was in for a shock. "So it's your call," he said. The clerk sighed and let Naruto in. Naruto smiled. "Now that is more like it," he said, smiling at the woman widely. The woman scowled at Naruto, who was proud of himself for having played that kind of a devious trick. The Hokage, just like Naruto had suspected, was reading the disgusting Icha Paradise books. He smiled. "I knew you were not busy, old man," he said, startling the Hokage, who rushed to hide those books in his drawer, stumbling and his face flushed because of the way Naruto had gotten the drop on him. "The Hokage cannot read stuff like this, old man. Aren't you supposed to be protecting the village and not reading porn in your office?" he asked the Hokage, who smiled. "Naruto, I have had a long day, you know, paperwork and everything, so cut me some slack, will you? I am a hard-working man, you know," he said, smiling. Naruto nodded. "Well," the Hokage said, continuing, "since you barged in like that, I am sure you have something important to say, Naruto. So spit it out, will you?" he asked Naruto, who nodded. "Yeah, I was getting to that actually. I came here for something that is mine," he said, which caused the Hokage to raise an eyebrow. "Run out of allowance? That is highly unlikely of you, Naruto," he said. "Because you usually have a lot of savings in your Gama-chan," he said, which caused Naruto to subconsciously rub the spot where the frog-shaped wallet was resting at the moment. "Not my allowance, old man," he said, causing the old man to look at him in a strange manner. "This is a secret, old man, so I want only you to hear this, okay?" he asked the Hokage, who sighed. "Okay, well, you heard the kid. Leave," he said, clapping as suddenly two Anbu came out and left the office. "So Naruto, what do you want to tell me?" he asked Naruto, who focused some chakra to his eyes. The color of his eyes changed, causing Hokage's eyes to widen. "Is that not the Sharingan?" Naruto said, interrupting whatever the old man was going to say. "This is the Rinnegan, I am sure you have heard of it," he said, causing the old man to look like he had a heart attack as he fell back on his chair, slumping further. "What the hell?" he asked the old man, who was sunk back in his chair. "Are you okay, old man?" he asked him, who nodded. "Yes, I am fine, but this is shocking. Do you have any idea how you got it?" he asked Naruto, who shook his head. Although technically he did, the fox had told him not to mention how he got it to anyone. "So that is what happened when the villagers attacked you. It wasn't the fox, was it?" he asked Naruto. referring to the incident 2 weeks ago when a mob was found lying because they foolishly attacked him. Way to execute 2 of those civilians, old man. They have stopped attacking me lately. I know that they should not have died, however I guess it worked out fine for me, he said. I have no idea what those eyes of yours can do, he said, still staring at his eyes. Naruto smiled. Well, for one thing, I have nature control and I can actually mix to create sub-elements, so you are looking at a future wood user, he said with a hint of pride in his voice. Also, I can summon animals without needing a contract, and I seem to have really increased grasping abilities and good control. However, I need some scrolls, old man. I really need to train. I mean, my father gave you some scrolls of his, right? I mean, I heard that every Hokage leaves some sort of scroll for his successor in case of a sudden death, he asked the old man, who paled. Yes, I know my father is the Yondaime. To think about it, the resemblance is really uncanny, isn't it? He asked the old man. I am sorry, Naruto, I would have told you, but save it, old man. I know you did it to protect me, I can understand, but you can make it up to me by giving me the scrolls my father left for me, he said. He then told the Hokage about everything that had happened the day the mob had attacked him. The old man nodded. Well, there are some things that you are not really ready for yet, but if you say that you have some good chakra control, I think I will give you this, he said, pulling out a scroll from the shelf behind him which had the kanji for spiral on it. This is your father's prized technique. It is an A-ranked jutsu known as the Rasengan. Your father had created this jutsu and it took him 3 years to do it, but I think you will be able to do it faster than that, he said, smiling as he gave Naruto the scroll. It's a blood scroll, only someone with the DNA of your father running through his veins could open that. Try it, he said. Naruto bit his thumb and put some blood in the scroll, which opened instantly. So I need some water balloons and air balloons. What the hell? He said, looking at the Hokage. It involves shape manipulation of chakra. You rotate the chakra with speed fast enough that can drill through almost anything, he said, smiling at Naruto's expression. So this is the kind of jutsu my dad made, huh? He asked the Hokage, who nodded. I also have something else I would like you to start. Seeing that you are the son of your father and mother, I will give you this, he said, pulling out a green book. On the book was written, The Basics of Sealing Arts. Fuinjutsu is a very intricate art, Naruto. However, both of your parents were extremely good at it, and it runs in your blood, so I need you to read this, he said. Naruto nodded. This was gold. He was getting a lot of stuff from the Hokage. Now I am sure you are aware of the high chakra reserves your tenant brings, that along with possessing the Rinnegan gives you reserves that are probably higher than me. So I can help you with something that will speed your training, he said to Naruto, who looked like a sponge at the moment, just absorbing everything that had happened up to this point. This is the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. It is a Junin-level jutsu that creates solid clones, he said, writing down the hand seals. You should be able to make hundreds of clones thanks to your reserves, and get this. Whatever your clones experience, you get back. So you can see the potential in training with the clones, he said. Naruto was wide-eyed. It was like the eyes of his had left him with a quest for knowledge. This is amazing, old man, he said, literally jumping up and down in his seat as the Hokage smiled at him. This was the enthusiasm he wished Kakashi would show. The Junin was always late for each and every mission that he was assigned. Well, I think you should leave and get to training, however do not miss your academy classes, he said, which caused Naruto to groan. The next 2 months were great for Naruto. He learned the shadow clones in less than an hour, which was surprising, and he could make at least 1,000 clones, which Naruto would then split. He began practicing the flowing palm with about 100 clones. The other clones worked on the Rasengan. According to his father's scroll, he had worked on completing the Rasengan by mixing it with his nature manipulation, however he had not been able to do it. Naruto on the other hand had asked the Hokage about nature manipulation, and the Hokage had given him a scroll which gave him the details on wind nature manipulation. Using his clones, he had managed cutting the leaf, however he could not find any waterfall to cut, so the training had been put on hold. However, the water training had been going along nicely. After managing to manipulate water bodies to fill a bottle, Naruto and his clones worked on the creation of torrents. He then began practicing on this relentlessly, and he had pretty much gotten the whole exercise down. Kurama had told him that thanks to the use of wind and water chakra, Naruto had finally managed creating some ice chakra. Thanks to the chakras mixing, Kurama had told him that by using the clones, he had speeded up the whole process. Naruto had found himself creating some ice by freezing the moisture around him, however he had no ideas as to how he would go about using the ice in a jutsu. Kurama had told him to read up on hand seals and how he could use it to manipulate the whole nature of ice. Apart from training for ice, wind and water, Naruto had also been reading up on sealing, and realized that he took to sealing like a fish takes to water. He had already finished reading the book twice over and had begun working on his own ink. Sealing arts involved mixing ink with chakra and creating his own language of sealing. Any seal master was supposed to have his own brand of seals. Naruto had already done a lot of work, including some exploding seals that would not allow anyone but himself to enter his apartment without blowing themselves up. However, Naruto still got a lot of mean looks from the villagers. Even at the academy, all the girls were into Sasuke Uchiha, which really infuriated him. The fangirls were infuriating beyond measure. They all seemed to only screech and do nothing else. However, there was one experience with a fangirl that left a really bad taste in Naruto's mouth. This was one day after the academy when Naruto was reading the book on intermediate sealing arts. He had only recently acquired the book and was very happy to have found it. He was reading on how to place seals on people without using ink when he found the book snatched from his hands by Sakura Haruno. "Give me my book back," he said, looking at Sakura, who was now peering at the book she had snatched from Naruto. "No," she said. "A baka like you does not deserve to know about Fuinjutsu. Only Sasuke-kun may read about it," she said. "Give me my book back," he said, not in a mood for any of this. However, Sakura refused. "No, only Sasuke-kun may have it," she said, taking off with his book. Naruto sighed as he activated his Rinnegan. "Bansho Tennen," he called out as Sakura came flying right back at Naruto, who deactivated his eyes immediately. Naruto now had Sakura by the grasp of her hair and pulled on it, causing Sakura to cry out in pain. Naruto felt bad at doing this, but he decided that the stupid fangirl needed to learn a lesson. "Give me that book, or I will cut all your hair and show it to Sasuke-kun. You know how he does not like short hair, right?" he asked her. Sakura began sweating at this. "Please don't," she said, handing Naruto the book back. "Good," Naruto said, smiling. "I hope you learned your lesson, because otherwise there will be hell to pay," he said. Sakura gulped. "How did you pull me back like that?" she asked him in ear. Naruto smiled. "I used a rope," he said, lying. However, the girl was stupid enough to believe it. "Ninja rope?" she asked him. "Yes," he said. "You want to give some to Sasuke-kun?" he asked her in a mocking tone which made Sakura cringe. After that encounter there was not much that really happened. October 10th came around and Naruto was hunted down by the villagers. Except he had decided to spend his birthday outside the village training. He had finally managed practicing his earth style element and had managed to produce wood chakra in his body. The wind and earth had also combined to form crystal release, which was simple enough to use and master as it just crystallized everything in the surroundings as it was used. Naruto realized that he would need to start working on the other elements, namely fire and lightning, as they would make a really good potent combination for him to use. However, at the moment he was happy with possessing different types of nature combinations. "Kit, shouldn't you be celebrating your birthday?" the fox asked him. Naruto shook his head. "No, those bastards really look for excuses to hunt me down and I will be damned before I give them a chance," he said. "What I really need to focus on is the Rasengan," he said. He had been working on combining the Rasengan with a nature type. He had actually moved all his clones into trying to work on it, however nothing had actually come off it. "Kit, I think you should try combining wind chakra. You seem really proficient with it. Maybe that was your strongest affinity before the Rinnegan came along," the fox suggested. Naruto nodded. He began working on practicing wind diffusion into the Rasengan with his clones. The practice went on for about 2 hours before Naruto called the clones to halt. He then dispelled them one by one, which took an hour in itself. "Okay," Naruto said with a determined look in his face. "Let's do this." He began infusing his wind chakra with the Rasengan, and finally, he could feel it. The blue sphere had some sort of visible wind blade coming in and out of it. That was apparently the wind chakra that was infused. "Complete," he said. "Futon. Rasengan," he said before smashing it into a tree. What happened next was, according to Naruto, the coolest thing he had ever seen. The tree he smashed it into was completely wrecked, uprooted and cut into 3 halves. "That is a powerful jutsu," the Kyuubi said, sounding slightly awestruck. I know, right? Naruto said, smiling to himself. He had come a long way already. He had accomplished his father's dream of completing the Rasengan, and he did it aged 7. Those eyes of yours, Kit, you show the talent to succeed the Sage of Six Paths. Dare I say I am proud of my container? The fox said, with a hint of pride in his voice. Thanks, Kurama, Naruto said, smiling. I guess we need to start working on our wood release, he said. I remember Hashirama Senju and his damn wood release techniques, Kyuubi said, sighing. He had the ability to control the tailed beast, he said. Really? Naruto asked him. Yes, Hashirama Senju came in contact with several tailed beasts, which he distributed among the villages, while his wife, Mito Uzumaki, sealed me into herself, thus keeping me in Konoha, the fox said. Naruto nodded. He had some scrolls for the wood release techniques, so he began practicing again. 2 more months passed before a tragedy shook Konoha. The entire Uchiha clan was massacred. Only one person, Sasuke Uchiha, had survived. Meanwhile, it was found out that Itachi Uchiha, Weasel of the Anbu, had defected the village. According to Sasuke's testimony, Itachi had killed his clan to test his abilities. Sasuke would never be the same, and nor would Konoha. It was already well known that the Uchiha clan that ran the local police force was an important asset for the village. Sasuke's behavior had changed ever since he had come back to the village. He had become more obnoxious and somewhat of a loner. Meanwhile, the fangirls found this even more cooler than before. They would not leave him alone. Naruto felt sort of bad for Sasuke, seeing as to how both of them were one of a kind. They came from a prestigious family but had no one left. For Sasuke it would be even worse since he had grown up with a family and Naruto had never really known any parental love. Naruto would have reached out to Sasuke, but his pride got the better of him and he decided to leave Sasuke alone. Naruto, on the other hand, had perfected 3 of his basic elements. As a matter of fact, he had already even learned loads of wood-styled techniques and had created a few ice and crystal techniques. In January, Naruto was summoned to the Hokage's office. He had rushed over there immediately. Naruto, I have a mission for you, the Hokage said, which caused Naruto to cough. Mission? He asked the Hokage. Yes. The old man nodded. You will go to Uzushigakure, the village from where your clan hailed, and you will be going with one of my own students, he said. The window opened to reveal a tall white-haired man with markings on his face. Hey brat, it's me, Jiraiya, the great toad sage, he said, posing with a toad. Naruto's sweat dropped. This was going to be really something. Naruto looked at the person who had gravity-defying hair standing in front of him. The great toad sage Jiraiya? He asked him incredulously. Jiraiya nodded. That is right, he said. I am the great sage of Konoha, one of the legendary 3, he said dramatically. The legendary 3 jokers? Naruto asked him, at which Jiraiya's face faltered. Damn it brat, you ruined my entrance, he said. There will be hell to pay for this, he said. Shut up you old geezer, Naruto shot back at him. Not caring if this guy was a toad sage or a legend, he was irritating as all hell. Sarutobi watched the scene in front of him with amusement. It reminded him of when Jiraiya first met Kushina. She had treated him the same way Naruto was treating him now. He has come a long way already, Kushina, Sarutobi thought, smiling as Naruto and Jiraiya continued their back and forth. You would be proud of him. Pervy sage, Naruto said. I have seen you before. When I was 4, you were peeping in the women's section of the hot spring, and then somebody caught you and you had to run away, he said, laughing at Jiraiya, who had a scowl on his face. Don't call me that brat, he said with a pout, but Naruto had no intention of stopping with the ribbing. He continued until Sarutobi had enough. Okay, Sarutobi said, interrupting their volley. I am tired of this now. Naruto, will you listen to this mission I have for you? He asked Naruto, who nodded. Sorry old man, it's just that this pervy sage is a real idiot, he said, sighing. And I thought you interrupted my training just so I could meet this man here, he said. Sarutobi smiled. Jiraiya can be like that, but I am getting to my point now, Sarutobi said. Now Naruto, Sarutobi continued when he realized that there wouldn't be any further interruptions. You hail from the Uzumaki clan, which is a clan well known for having been allies of Konoha in the Shinobi Wars. However, the whole clan was wiped out some years ago, he said. They lived in Uzushigakure, the village hidden in the whirlpools, the symbols most Konoha shinobi wear on their shoulders. The one of the spiral is actually the symbol of your clan. It was done to signify the alliances of the two villages, he said. The Uzumaki were infamous for their proficiency in fuinjutsu. They were highly feared, and the Uzumaki ninja were also master swordsmen. They could turn any battle in the favor of the side they were participating in the battle for, and for that reason many villages wanted them taken down. They did that by allying against your village. Iwa, Kiri and Kumo were all involved in the taking down of your village. There was a fierce battle fought for 3 days with all the shinobi forces against the Uzumaki. However, after 3 days the battle turned in the favor of the alliance between the 3 villages, and yet the Uzumaki had managed wiping out all of their forces. That, combined with your own father taking out thousands of Iwa ninja, had turned the battle in Konoha's favor, and the battle had finally been won. Sarutobi finished. Naruto smiled. It was good to know where he got all his determination from. The Uzumaki clan, said Jiraiya, standing up and walking towards the window. They were known for their amazing lifespans. Uzumaki clansmen would live on for years and years. They were also known for their stamina, which was godlike in some respects, Jiraiya said. I can say that I myself learned some of the sealing from the Uzumaki. They trusted me enough, and the reason I am the seal master is because of that, Jiraiya said. Naruto's eyes widened. This guy was a seal master? Naruto, you can visit the village. You always needed to be with an Uzumaki to get in, or you needed to be allowed. I am sure you will be allowed to go in too. There are a lot of possessions there, including some tips on sealing. I want you to go there and recover it. Not only you, but also Konoha can use it to become stronger, and then in the future we can train our ninjas in fuinjutsu. There is also a high probability that there might be some weapons there. You can pick one to train with, Sarutobi said, smiling. Naruto grinned. Maybe he could find a cool sword to fight with. He had always wanted one, and now he could have one. Really, old man? He asked Sarutobi, who nodded. Yes, finally I can have a sword for myself, Naruto said, pumping his fists in the air. Jiraiya smiled. Don't get too excited, Brad. I am accompanying you, and I will train you, Jiraiya said in the same pompous tone that he had taken on when he had first met Naruto. Naruto scowled. Oh yeah? You don't need to. I can train by myself, he said to Jiraiya, who sighed. Naruto, Sarutobi said. Are you sure that is a good idea? I mean, he did train your father, he told Naruto. Naruto looked at Jiraiya with a funny expression which made Jiraiya feel like a monkey in the zoo. What are you looking at? He asked Naruto. Are you telling the truth, old man? This pervert taught my father? He asked Sarutobi, who nodded. Jiraiya sighed. You know, you might think I am an incompetent loser, but I am actually pretty strong. Your father was one of my most promising students, he said, sighing. He had a future till the Kyuubi attacked, Jiraiya said sadly. Do you know? He continued. You were named by me? He asked Naruto, whose eyes widened again. Yes, Jiraiya said, smiling at Naruto's expression. You were the name of the lead character in my book, The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi, he said, taking out a green-colored book and tossing it to Naruto, who caught it. This book was horrible, it barely sold. No wonder I had to write Icha Icha, he said, sighing. Naruto stiffened. This guy wrote those books? I did not know you had such a tough life, kid. I mean, the one time I visited the village after you were born was to deliver a report, and I didn't even meet Sensei, he said sadly. But now that I am here, he said, his tone doing a complete changeover, I will train you in your father's technique, the Rasengan, he said, flashing a smile. I learned that already, Naruto said, which caused Jiraiya to fall over. What the hell? Jiraiya asked Sarutobi. This kid learnt the Rasengan at 7 years of age. Now you will tell me he completed the technique too, Jiraiya said, at which Sarutobi nodded. As a matter of fact, he said, smiling, he did. Jiraiya was completely shocked at this. He could not believe it. This kid had completed the Rasengan, something he himself couldn't do. Naruto, Sarutobi said. Channel some chakra to your eyes, he said. Naruto nodded and did what was asked of him. No way that is, Jiraiya said, stammering. The Rinnegan, Sarutobi said simply. Yes, but it looks different. Is that because of the fox? He asked Sarutobi, who nodded. That is what Kurama says it is, Naruto said. Kurama? Jiraiya asked him. Oh yeah, Kyuubi's real name is Kurama, cute huh? He asked Jiraiya. who stared open-mouthed at Naruto like he was some kind of an alien. "Listen, you two catch up at Ichiraku Ramen Bar. I have loads of work to do," he said, dismissing both of them. "Leave for the village tomorrow. It's in the land of whirlpools, not too far away from the land of the waves," he said. "Jiraiya has been there so he knows where it is," he said. Naruto nodded. The two soon left the office, leaving Sarutobi with his paperwork. "Does anybody have the cheat code to beat paperwork?" he thought to himself, sighing as he went on with his routine. "So you named me, eh?" Naruto asked Jiraiya, who nodded. They had just left the village. Naruto had spent last night sealing his belongings in a seal. Jiraiya was impressed that Naruto could use seals with such effectiveness already. "Yeah, I told your father that Naruto was a name I came up with while thinking of ramen, but he insisted on you being called Naruto," he said. "What would have happened if I was a girl?" he asked Jiraiya. "I mean, Naruto is a guy's name, right?" So, he trailed off. Jiraiya laughed. "I guess then we would call you Naruko. But how does it matter?" he asked Naruto, who had a serious expression on his face. "I just wished my parents were the one who told me all this, he said with a hint of sadness in his voice. Jiraiya smiled. "Oh, your parents are alive," he said, which made Naruto stop walking. "What?" he asked Jiraiya. "I meant here," he said, rubbing his chest, indicating the heart, and, "up there," he said, pointing to the heavens. "I'm sure they are watching," he said. "What do you think they are saying right about now?" he asked Jiraiya, who sighed. "They are angry that I wasn't there for my godson," he said. Naruto nodded his head. "Look, pervy sage, I can understand why you weren't here. You had things to do," he said. Jiraiya smiled. "Yes, Naruto, I had a spy network to run, and I expected you to fend for yourself till I came along. You see, I would have trained you either way. After all, you are the son of my best student, and someone I hope to pass on my own teachings to," he said. "I just hoped that you would be ready to appreciate what was taught to you," he said. "I however did not expect the villagers to be such idiots," Jiraiya said sadly, "or else I would have done something," he said. Naruto smiled. "Don't blame them, pervy sage. I mean, come on, they are poisoned by those fools on the council, especially the civilian council," he said. Jiraiya nodded. "Those fools are idiots, which is why I want you to hide the Rinnegan from them as long as possible. Do you understand?" he asked Naruto, who nodded. "Kurama told me that already. That is not a problem," he said. Jiraiya nodded. "What else did the fox teach you?" he asked Naruto. "Water manipulation. I learned earth and wind by myself. I perfected the futon Rasengan by myself too," he said. "What about other things?" he asked Naruto. "Oh, that reminds me," he said, biting his thumb and making the hand seals for the Kachiyose no Jutsu, he called out, hitting his hands on the ground. Jiraiya wasn't sure if Naruto had a contract, however a giant bird was summoned nonetheless. Jiraiya stared at the bird open-mouthed. Even while training Nagato, he hadn't seen anything like this. The giant bird looked like one of those rocks from the old days, those giant birds which were known to have carried off innocent children to their deaths. "My Rinnegan allows me to summon these," he said, pointing out the eyes of the rock, which also had the red-colored Rinnegan eyes. "Actually any animal as long as I have chakra," he said as he got on the bird. "Come on, old man, are you gonna hop on or not?" he asked Jiraiya, who nodded and rushed over to the bird. "So you tell me the directions and this bird will fly us there. Keep in mind my limit with this bird is 5 hours, beyond that I get tired," he said. Jiraiya nodded. They were outside Konoha, 5 miles away from the main gates. "Wave country is to the west," he said as he sat behind Naruto, who nodded. The bird took off immediately, and to Jiraiya's delight, they were going pretty fast. "This is a useful skill," Jiraiya told him. Naruto nodded. "I know, I actually practiced for something like this. I had to build up my chakra reserves for all that," he said. "Lots of water walking and tree climbing," he said. Jiraiya smiled. Naruto was taking his training really seriously. Hiruzen Sarutobi was back in his office staring at the moon. The paperwork had kept him in the office for a long time, but it wasn't like he had anyone to go back to. Only Konohamaru was the relative he had in the village. His son was still working for the Fire Lord. Sarutobi sighed as someone knocked on the door. It was his old teammate, Danzo Shimura. The man had been his rival back in the day, and now he was a war veteran, with bandages covering his arm and one eye, leaving him with one good arm and one good eye. "Hiruzen, Danzo said to him, in what Sarutobi assumed was a greeting. Yes, Danzo, Sarutobi replied, indicating for him to take a seat. However, Danzo did not take a seat. Some people have seen Naruto leave the village with Jiraiya, he said. What is the meaning of this Hiruzen? He asked. Sarutobi sighed. It's a training trip, Danzo, he said, in his own way to assuage Danzo, who had for long advocated that Naruto be kept safe and brought up as a weapon. I am happy that the boy is getting training, but I am not happy with who is giving it, he said. Sarutobi raised his eyebrow at this. Who would you have wanted to train Naruto? He asked Danzo even though he pretty much knew the answer. Me, Danzo said simply. I would have raised him and trained him properly, he said. The way a shinobi should be raised, not like the way you train them, he said. Sarutobi stood up, clearly angry. Danzo took a step back. Don't think that I don't know what you would have done to him. It would have been just like all the other ninjas in your route, he said, practically spitting out every word. Hiruzen, Danzo said. Your method was Tobirama-sensei's method, Sarutobi said. Don't tell me that you are that willing to disobey your own sensei, he said. Well, I want the good of the village Hiruzen, just like you. But I think my way is better, he said, before turning around and walking away. Sarutobi sighed. This was a perfect way to end what was already a really bad day. The fates were against him today. Naruto and Jiraiya had already reached the Wave Country 4 hours by taking flight, much to Jiraiya's delight. However, much to Jiraiya's chagrin, there was also no bathhouse because of the poor economic conditions of the country. Even the Lord of Wave Country was practically a pauper. The problem was thanks to the precarious position of the country. The country used to be prosperous thanks to the number of ports they had. However, much recently, a shipping magnate called Gato had taken over the one remaining port of Wave Country and thus shut out the whole place. This led to all prices shooting up and poverty becoming commonplace. Also, all bathhouses were stopped as people did not have money to spend in them. Many women had been forced into prostitution thanks to the poor economic conditions. However, Jiraiya assured himself that he would not stay too long. He was leaving as soon as he got a ship that could take Naruto and him to the whirlpool. They were staying in a beaten-up rest house that was far more expensive than Konoha would have, but it would have to suffice. Naruto had just returned from taking a walk around the village and he was not looking very happy. Man, I thought my life was hard. These orphans really have it bad here, Naruto said, wiping his forehead before taking a sip of what he thought was water before he spit it out. What the hell is this? He asked, thrusting the bottle in Jiraiya's direction, causing the white-haired man to laugh. That is sake. You are too young to understand the good things in life, boy, Jiraiya said, smiling. Naruto scowled. Yeah, right. Well, these orphans don't understand the good things in life either, he said seriously. The economic situation in this country is not very good, Naruto, but there isn't much you can do about it, at least not now, he said. Naruto nodded. I wish I could do something, to ease the pain, Naruto said. Jiraiya nodded. I felt the same way too, Naruto, but there are some things that a person can never ever change. You have to give them time, they sort themselves out eventually, he said. I guess you are right, pervy sage, he said, causing Jiraiya to hang his head down. I told you to not call me that, he said, but Naruto shook his head. Never gonna stop calling you what you are, pervy sage, he said again, this time stressing on the words pervy and sage. Jiraiya decided he needed to drop this topic. Okay, brat, we have to move now, let's get to the port, he said. Naruto nodded before beginning to seal everything they had unpacked. Soon they were on their way to the port. Naruto looked around the city. The poverty in this area was rampant, and there was almost nothing he could do about it. He still thought back to his own life, and he could sympathize with these people. They had gone through what he had gone through, except there wasn't an entire village that was after the lives of any of these orphans, while Naruto was ostracized because he contained something that reminded the village of all the destruction and death that had been caused due to it. At least no one here has to be accused of being a demon, he thought as he saw a boy and a girl fighting over a rice cake. Naruto's heart sunk as the boy decided to break the ball in half and give it to the girl. At least they knew the importance of sharing something. He wished someone had done that for him when he was struggling. Maybe someone could have helped him out whenever he was troubled by anything. But he wasn't that lucky. Soon they reached one of the small docks. There they saw a tall man and another old man who was bespectacled and looked and smelt drunk. I am looking for a boat that can take us to the whirlpool that is not too far away from here, Jiraiya said, looking at the two men. The taller man stepped forward and spoke up. I am sorry, but I do not row. I am a farmer and my father is a bridge builder. However, I have a friend who can take you there, he said in an apologetic tone. That's all right, I don't mind at all, Jiraiya said. The taller man began walking towards one of the other boats on the dock when the drunken spectacled man stopped him. Kaiza, for all we know these could be Gato's men, he said. Why should we help them? The man named Kaiza shook his head. Father, looks like you have had too much to drink. Tsunami will be unhappy again, he said. The old man shook his head and moved away, grumbling as he did so. Kaiza came back 5 minutes later with a man in the hat. This man here is good. He will take you to your destination. But be careful. Do not venture in the whirlpool. Many people have died trying to go there. There is an island near the whirlpool which is the only safe place, he said. The rower stepped forward and shook Jiraiya's hand. It will be a pleasure to take you there, he said. Jiraiya nodded. If you don't mind me asking, why do you want to go there anyway? Kaiza asked Jiraiya. I am sorry, but that is confidential, he said. Kaiza nodded. Very well, I wish you a happy journey, he said. Jiraiya nodded and bowed, so did Naruto. Soon they were on the way there. You know, pervy sage, maybe we could have flown there. This boat thing wouldn't have been necessary, Naruto said. Naruto, it would be impossible flying there, because of the mist that surrounds the place, Jiraiya said. Mist, was that done for some additional protection? He asked Jiraiya, who merely nodded. Yes, your clansmen were very clever, he said. Of course they were, Naruto said, smiling. 3 hours later they found themselves close to a giant whirlpool. There was an island that was just on the edge of the vortex and the rower had to make a complex turn to land them there. He then left after Jiraiya paid him more than what was necessary. Now Naruto and Jiraiya found themselves on the island that was not too wide. Naruto, use your blood, will you? He said. Naruto nodded before biting his thumb and spilling some of his blood on the ground. The effect was immediate. The whirlpool stopped and was replaced with a bright light. Space-time barrier ninjutsu. Uzumaki clan accomplished stuff like this thanks to a seal. Only the members of the village could access it, and since you are a blood relative, you can too, Jiraiya said. They stepped through the white bright light and found themselves in another place altogether. The village of Uzushi. Welcome to your home village, kid, Jiraiya said, smiling at the look on Naruto's face. The place was beautiful. It was built on a water body and houses and buildings were on small islands, much like the one that Naruto and Jiraiya had stood on. However, the islands were connected by planks of wood that were tied together to make a bridge of sorts, crude but effective. There were fortification seals on the planks, thus maintaining the sturdiness of the whole bridge. This is amazing, Naruto said in an awestruck tone, causing Jiraiya to laugh at him. It is, isn't it? Now let us go to the place where the leader of the clan lived, Jiraiya said as they began walking towards a huge house that could be spotted even amongst all the buildings. The buildings themselves were largely not damaged, however they had the feel of a place that had been abandoned for a long time. That was obvious, no one had lived there for a long time. As they came in front of the large house, they noticed that there was another requirement of blood. Naruto obliged again and the gates opened, revealing a huge house. Naruto, I have to stop now, Jiraiya said. Naruto looked at him with a puzzled expression on his face. This place might be booby-trapped and only Uzumaki can be safe navigating this place. I think you should go on your own, he said. Naruto nodded before leaving. Naruto explored the whole place and there was not much of note, except that he really liked the way the place was designed. However, he found a diary in one of the rooms and flipped open a page. I just got news that my daughter has found herself a lover, and I am extremely happy today. It is a person who is worthy of being an Uzumaki. After all, he is known as the Yellow Flash for a reason. The war has taken a toll on us and we have lost so much that I don't think we will make it through this. I hope she can forgive me. I don't even have the time to write these days and she seems really worried about me too. I hope they have a kid. I will leave all I have to him, her. Naruto looked at the cover of the diary. Many pages were missing. The cover read, Diary of Clan Leader. He turned more pages and looked back at another entry. Today I had to send Kushina away, the saddest day of my life. I wonder if I will see her face to face again. I promised that I would send some letters but I can never ever see my daughter again. I hope Mito-sama takes care of her. Naruto smiled, so the clan leader was his grandfather, which made him the pseudo-leader of the clan that had one person in it. He flipped more pages till he found a letter that fell to the ground. Along with it he also found a key. He opened and he read the letter. Dear grandchild, this is for the future, as I am not sure if I even get to have a grandchild. However, I know what the blood of your father and mother is like, and I can predict what your blood will be like. I want to entrust to you my sword. I call it the butterfly. However, it doesn't really have a name. This sword, which you will find in the vault behind the room, which can be opened only with the key and a blood donation, is called so thanks to it being so light. It is strong, but it feels like you are holding thin air. This is thanks to all the seals that have been used in the making of this blade. You can also channel elemental chakra through it. I don't know if you will ever locate this blade, but I want to make sure that if you don't, no one does. Love, your grandfather. Naruto wiped a tear away from his eyes. The letter was short, but it made sense and was all that was needed. He found the vault behind the room and opened the lock, then made a blood donation. The door opened and there it was, the sword in all its glory. It had a greenish hue and the hilt was golden while the blade was long. Naruto reached out and held the blade in his hand, however he was surprised to see what happened next. Naruto found himself in a dark room. He stared as a giant dragon stared at him. Uzumaki Naruto, the dragon said to him. You seem to be of a pure heart. Let us see if you can prove it to me. Naruto nodded. His grandfather hadn't said anything about a test. This was news to him. However, he expected there to be one. I don't understand you, Uzumaki Naruto. Why would you stay in the village that shunned you for what you hold inside you? Why would you do that? The dragon asked him. Because it's my job, Naruto said, making it sound really simple. Job? What job? My father sealed the fox in me because he trusted me to wield his power. Once the villagers realize that I can safely control the power that I have been blessed with, they will come around. Till then I will strive to prove myself to the world, Naruto said with a determined look on his face. Nice answer, nothing less from the great Uzumaki. Fine, I shall entrust myself to you. I know you know what I can do. I sense that you read the letter, the dragon said. Who are you? Naruto asked the dragon, who smiled. The personification of the sword in your hand. As you can see, I take the appearance of a dragon, Naruto-sama. Now it's time to return to the ordinary plane, it said. Naruto found himself back in familiar surroundings. However, he realized that he could hold the sword and he waved it around. It felt really light. It was like he was moving air with his hands. He decided to channel some chakra through it. He tried wind first and realized that the sword was elongated. He yelped in delight. He had a really useful weapon. And also a very cool one. The sword of the butterfly, huh? He wondered out loud. Actually, I like being called something cooler. Like the dragon wrath, came the sound from the sword. What the hell, even the sword can talk? Naruto asked, looking at the sword. It's called sentience, look it up in the dictionary, brat. I know what sentience is, Naruto scoffed. To which the sword let out a small, shocking, which pissed off Naruto. I had to pick up a sentient sword, didn't I? He said, furious with himself. Actually, it's good to have a sword to talk to. It can teach you kenjutsu and other techniques. And also, no one can ever take the sword away from you till you are alive. I see to people like that, only you may carry it, and if you have given permission to someone else, that person may also carry it. However, only you may use me in battle, the sword said. Only I can hear you, right? Naruto asked it. The sword would have face palmed if it was possible. So, sword, tell me about my grandpa, Naruto said. Are you going to call me sword? The sword asked Naruto, who nodded. That name is cooler than butterfly, although I have to question the sanity of a person who decides to name a sword that personifies dragons, sword. But anyway, I am going off topic. Your grandfather was Takeshi Uzumaki, who was also nicknamed the Timekeeper, as he was one of the few people to have designed a seal that could alter space-time, although he had pathetic control over it. He gave birth to Kushina Uzumaki, who was chosen to be the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, just like you, the sword said. Naruto nodded. I wasn't chosen to be Jinchuriki though, my dad had to seal it in me, he said. Why? No idea, he was forced to do it, that is for sure. Someone had wrenched the control of Kyuubi and no one knows who. Apparently that secret died with my mom, and my mom, as you can tell, is dead, he said. So I will never ever know who did it, he said. Well, that is too bad. I presume that you will try finding out, the dragon said, which made Naruto laugh. What would my grandpa have done? He asked the sword. Uzumaki are brave and noble-hearted people. I think any Uzumaki would have wanted to find out who it was. However, before we do that, there are some things your grandfather had told me to do, the sword said. What? Your inheritance, Naruto-sama, you have a lot of it. I think you deserve it. Plus there are some books on sealing. Your grandfather knew that you would have a natural affinity to sealing, and there are some really complex ones in the vault, all of which belong to you, sword said. Lead the way, sword, Naruto said. Okay, although Naruto-sama, maybe you shouldn't talk out loud. You have to think of me to communicate with me. Otherwise people will think you have gone cuckoo, the sword said. Alright, I guess, but stop calling me Naruto-sama, it's weird. Just call me what I am, Naruto. Very well, the sword said. Naruto opened his mouth. So did Jiraiya, except Jiraiya's mouth was much wider than Naruto's. What the hell? Jiraiya shouted. Naruto was stunned, speechless. It was an hour after Naruto had taken over his sword, and it had led him to the vault with all the seals. There he also found a way to deactivate all the booby traps in the house, which he did, and promptly called his godfather to check up on him too. They had followed the sword to a vault, behind which was heaps and heaps of money, gold coins and expensive-looking gems. It was also the reason for Jiraiya's open mouth. The hell, man? How can you be so lucky? Jiraiya asked Naruto, who was puzzled himself. Man, I will have to write a new Icha every month to make that kind of money in a lifetime. This is too much, he continued. Naruto sighed. His godfather's comical reaction wasn't enough to amuse him. Grandpa had this place connected with a seal, he said, looking at one of the scrolls. He used that seal to withdraw money from this place for the welfare of the village. He says it is a form of space-time ninjutsu and it can be used only by me from anywhere, so we don't need to transport this money, Naruto finished. Jiraiya still had an open mouth. I think you have everything we need, brat, we should get going, he said. Naruto nodded. This had been really eventful. Hopefully he wouldn't go insane with all the changes that had been taking place in his life. He had lived like a pauper till now, and all of a sudden he is richer than the Fire Daimyo himself. Naruto sighed. For now it was back to training.